Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be painting up a miniature from Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, and that is a Zariel, the Archdevil of the Nine Hells. And this is going to be quite fun and interesting to do, especially since the Baldur's Gate 3 game has come out recently. I haven't unfortunately managed to be able to play it yet, hopefully I will do soon. But she has gained a lot of popularity, as she is mentioned in that game, so I thought it'd be a fun thing to paint up while Baldur's Gate is getting so much attention, and I happen to have the miniature as well. I mean, I thought, what better way? It's sitting there in my pile of shame, so what better time than now to paint it up? So let's get into that video and see how I painted up Zariel. Okay, so we have a Zariel all primed up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with her skin, and she has a very greyish skin tone. So as you can see here, I've gone with dark sea grey to use as the base skin tone, so giving it a nice good overall coat. And she also has her arm out where she's holding her hammer, so don't forget to paint that up as well too. Being very careful, making sure that we're using thin down paint so we get a good overall coverage and two thin coats. Okay, so now we have Zariel's face all painted up, as well as her hand as well, the skin tone color with the grey. And now what I'm doing is I'm coming in with a black, and I'm going to be painting her. I'm not sure if it's makeup or like a war paint that she has on it. It looks very, very cool anyway, very distinctive, that she has this nice sort of war paint on her face. So I want to paint that in as well. Now, what I would usually do is come in and try and paint that perfectly every time. And I did a quick test just off camera to see if I could even get it, and it was just frustrating me that I couldn't do it. So what I decided to do is I'm going to come in with sort of a big splotchier sort of look. Like, I'm not worried too much about getting it perfect this point down. I'm going to get it slopped on there, well, not slopped on there, I'm placing it on there as nicely as I can, but in the rough outline of what I want, waiting for it to dry. And then I'm going to come back in with our original skin tone color and just erase parts of it, just chipping away at it slowly until I get the desired effect I'm looking for. Bit hard to show on camera as I'm doing it, as you can see, but I'm just coming in making the lines a lot thicker and wider, so I've got a little bit of room to play around with it when I come in with that skin tone layer to try and tidy up that war paint. And there you can see we're erasing it with the skin tone. I get out with a better result. Now what I'm going to be doing is coming in with some really bright orange, and I'm going to be using this to paint in Azariel's eyes, as she has this bright fiery orange eyes. And it looks really, really cool, so of course I want to try to create that. And you can see I've switched to a very fine tip brush, so I got a nice small point and being very, very careful to get that in here. And because I'm doing that and being very careful, you can't really see it because I'm out of focus and I'm concentrating too much. But as you can see, it comes out very, very nicely, and I'm thankful for that. So let's move on to that next step. So now that we've got the face done, what I'm going to do is come in with a wash now, and I'm going to be placing a wash over our skin areas to liven it up a little bit, give it sort of a bit more warmth. So that wash is going to really help do this. And of course, while I'm going to be placing the wash on the face, I'm going to be mindful of trying to avoid the areas where we painted up the eyes, as I don't want to get it in there and taint the color of the eyes. I really like the bright flaming orange eyes, so just keeping an eye on that as it's drying, making sure that I'm, as well as being careful of my application of the wash, so I'm not too much is globbed up and trying to fall down the face. So just being really aware of how much wash I'm applying to the model. So I'm trying to go along with the paint design that she has in her Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus look, where she has these nice, awesome sort of red wings on her, as she is a fallen angel that's been corrupted by the hells, and they've given it this nice, awesome sort of red glowing effect while the wings are black. And I really, really like that look, so I want to try and recreate it as much as I can in miniature form. Of course, it's going to be a lot harder. I'm not going to get it exactly as I like to, but I really want to try and pull this off. I think it looks a lot better than the actual official box art for the miniature head. It has bright red flaming orange wings, and I think the redesign that she got in the Descent into Avernus campaign book with these awesome red wings, red and black wings, are really, really cool. So I'm going to try and recreate that by giving them, of course, as you can see, a nice coating of red paint. I'm using vampire red here, nice deep dark red. Okay, so now we have those wings all painted in red. What I'm going to do now is come in with some black, and what I'm going to be doing with the black is I'm going to be using it as a highlight for the wings. So I'm going to be getting all the highest points of her wings there with the feathers that are nice and showing through. I want to be picking those out in black to give it the red as the nice little underglow. So the official artwork of Baldur's Gate is she has this awesome sort of like red glowing like underlight into all her wings, and trying to recreate that. The way I do it is by painting it red and then coming over and using black as a highlight, so all the feathers look black and have like this reddish underglow, at least as much as I can anyway. And trying to do this on a model like this is quite difficult, so you're going to spend a lot of time here trying to get this nice, but trust me, by the end it's going to really look nice and unique and be really striking on the table. So do spend the time to pick out these parts of the model if you're intending to copy it like I am here. Then once you have those complete, what we're going to do now is come in with some orange and some yellow, and I'm going to be just focusing this onto the halo part of Zariel here, as I wanted to separate it out. You could make this the exact same if you wanted to, but I really wanted to make it different and striking as a completely different piece on the model, so something to visually look at and be more interesting to look at on the model itself rather than the official artwork. The artwork has the benefit of being able to separate the halo out from the wings and make it look like a different piece entirely and just change it up slightly, so it's a complete different entity, and of course you have it nice and floating. Model, you can't really do that, so they've gotten this nice little halo thing that connects the two wings, and I think the way I can do that by having it as a nice separate piece entirely is by painting it differently, but still similar theme. So we've got the red and black wings, but I'm going to be focusing the halo as pure fire rather than making the wings pure fire. So just going in with the orange and yellow, mixing them together, going with the orange and the red at the bottom, and then more of the yellow towards the top, like a natural flame effect. Then once we have that complete, what I'm going to do now is we're going to be painting up her dress, and I'm going to be using some dark stone to do this. Now this is a dark brownish color, and painting it over top of our black prime is going to be very hard to see, as you can probably tell, but it's going to give it just a nice brownish tinge to the color and separate it out a little bit, as Zariel depicted in her artwork is very much just all black armor, and I've got to make it a little bit more interesting to look at than that. That can look really cool in artwork, but on a miniature, when it's standing on a table a little bit far away, it all blends together. So you want to try and add a little bit of variety to the miniature with different colors. So using dark stone to do that is hopefully going to help separate that out from just everything being black. It might look all black from a distance, but when you come up close, you'll be able to see the different colors on the actual model itself. Okay, so as said before, she is wearing pretty much all black. So to try and recreate this, but not do it all black, with her armor, is I'm going to come in with some rough iron. Now it is a very deep color, as you can see, but it is not completely black, so just adding in a bit more color and variety, and it's going to still give off that demonic look, you know, that angel of hell that we're looking for here. So just giving it a nice overall coat of all of her armored up areas. Then once we have that complete, we're going to come in with some ordinary metal here. I'm going to be using oily steel for this. It's sort of a grimier looking metal, and I'm going to be using this for her weapon. So she has this maul that's on a chain of her arm, and she's lost her arm, and as well as that she also has some chains dangling from the side of her legs there, so we want to paint those up as well. As well as that, also her hammer as well, we want to be painting up in our metallic. So like I said, if we had gone in with using the same metallic on top of her armor as well, and then trying to darken it down, it would be very samey, and we want to separate out those areas and make them look distinct on a model from far away. So doing these little tricks can help you out here and visualize your model from a distance at different sections on the model, as well as it also just makes it look more interesting overall. Then once we have that complete, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be coming in with a black wash, and I'm going to be using Nuln oil for this, and I'm going to be applying it to all the areas we've just previously painted, of course, except for leaving out our wings and the halo of Zariel here. So I want to apply it to all of the armor, the clothing, and of course all of the weapons as well. So just giving it a good overall wash and making sure to keep an eye on it as it's drying, so none of the wash accidentally spills down to where you don't want it to. Now I wanted to add in something a little bit extra to the model with the metallic areas, and that's just giving it a little bit of rust. So here I've got Rust Effect by Army Painter, and I'm just going to be applying it to the weapons and all of the areas we've done the metallic. So of course that is just the weapons here. I'm not worrying about the armor, just the weapons itself, and really aiming for those areas where the rust would sort of be over it, but also making it look more interesting rather than just being completely silver. I mean, she's an angel from the hells. I don't think she's going to be worried about too much about cleaning up her weapons and that, since she's constantly fighting in the wars of the hells. So she hasn't got time for that. She just uses them, and I'm keeping the highest points nice and silvered, so you can see that those are the areas she uses, but everywhere else has fallen to decay and rust. Then once we have that rust effect dried, it's really looking good now. I'm going to come in with a shining silver. This here is a nice bright silver, and I'm just going to be using this for the tips of the areas where the metallic metal would naturally have sort of a glinting shine on it in the sun, to really separate it out from the used rusty metal that's been served in this war. So nice and easy bits to pick out here, just sort of the very tips and the edges of our metallic areas. Then once we have that complete, what I'm going to do now is come back in with my rough iron, and I'm going to be using this to be picking out the highest points of the armor as well, just like we did with our metallic areas, but except for this time I'm just using plain rough iron. I'm not trying to make it any brighter, because the rough iron with that black wash that we had over top of it, then placing black iron over top is going to give it that natural sort of shine back, so we don't need to worry about mixing any silver into it, which you totally could do if you want to if you wanted to bring that brightness way up. But you know, she's a character who has this blackened armor, and she's all rugged and beaten down from the wars of the Nine Hells, so I don't think I want too shiny a glory towards her. I want to keep her sort of looking demonic and evil as this fallen angel. But with that, we have completed painting up Zariel, so let's go to those glamour shots to see how she came out, all finished in the end. And with all that completed, we have finally finished painting up Zariel from Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus from Gale Force 9's miniatures line. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys, whether you want to follow along with what I did here, or you want to use this video for inspiration and painting up your own miniatures. But with all that said, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.